نه چه Блин, дурак. Я не знаю, что это спрашивать.
On a dû faire 80 000 euros de chiffre d'affaires, je me rappelle bien. Hello, je m'appelle Sberbank, j'ai réalisé plus de 10 millions d'euros de chiffre d'affaires en dropshipping, en e-commerce.
Throughout 6 centuries, the Ghent altarpiece has been burned, forged, and raided in 3 different wars. It is, in fact, and raided in 3 different wars. It is, in fact, the world's most stolen artwork. And while it's told some of its secrets, it's kept others hidden. In 1934, the police of Ghent, Belgium, heard that one of the altarpiece's panels, split between its front and back, was suddenly gone. The commissioner investigated the scene, but determined that a theft at a cheese shop was more pressing. 12 ransom notes appeared over the following months, and 1/2 of the panel was even returned as a show of good faith. Meanwhile, art restorer Jeff van der Weken made a replica of the other half for display until it was found. But it never was. Some suspected that he was involved in the theft and, once ransom demands failed, had simply painted over the original and presented it as his copy. But a definitive answer wouldn't come for decades. Just 6 years later, Hitler was planning a grand museum, but was missing his most desired possession, the Ghent altarpiece. As Nazi forces advanced, Belgian leaders sent the painting to France, but the Nazis commandeered and moved it to a salt mine, converted into a stolen art warehouse that contained over 6,000 masterpieces. Near the war's end in 1945, a Nazi official decided he'd rather blow up the mine before letting it fall into Allied hands. In fact, the Allies had soldiers called monuments men, who were tasked with protecting cultural treasures. 2 of them were stationed 570 kilometers away when one got a toothache. They visited a local dentist who mentioned that his son-in-law also loved art and took them to meet him. They discovered that he was actually one of the Nazis' former art advisors, now in hiding. And miraculously, he told them everything. The monuments men devised a plan to rescue the art, and the local resistance delayed the mine's destruction until they arrived. Inside, they found the altarpiece among other world treasures. The Ghent altarpiece, also called the Adoration of the Mystic Lamb central subject, consists of 12 panels depicting the biblical story. It's one of the most influential artworks ever made. When Jan van Eyck completed it in Ghent in 1432, it was immediately deemed the best painting in Europe. For millennia, artists used tempera paint consisting of ground pigment in egg yolk, which created vivid but opaque colors. The altarpiece was the first to showcase the unique abilities of oil paint. They allowed Van Eyck to capture light and movement in a way that had never been seen before. He did this using brushes and the local resistance delayed the mine's destruction until they arrived. Inside, they found the altarpiece among other world treasures. The called the Adoration of the Mystic Lamb, after its central subject, consists of 12 panels depicting the biblical story. It's one of the most influential artworks ever made. When Jan van Eyck completed it in Ghent in 1432, it was immediately deemed the best painting in Europe. For millennia, artists used tempera paint consisting of ground pigment in egg yolk, which created vivid but opaque colors. The altarpiece was the first to showcase the unique abilities of oil paint. They allowed Van Eyck to capture light and movement in a way that had never been seen before. He did this using it as a single badger hair. And by depicting details like Ghent landmarks, botanically identifiable flowers, and lifelike faces, the altarpiece pioneered an artistic mode that would come to be known as realism. Yet, conservation work completed in 2019 found that, for centuries, people had been viewing a dramatically altered version. Due to dozens of restorations, as much as 70% of certain sections had been painted over. As conservators removed these layers of paint, varnish, and grime, they discovered vibrant colors and whole buildings that had long been invisible. Other details were more unsettling. The mystic lamb's 4 ears had long perplexed viewers, but the conservation team revealed that the second pair was actually a pentimento, the ghost of underlying layers of paint that emerge as newer ones fade. Restorers had painted over the original lamb with what they deemed a more palatable version. They removed this overpainting and discovered the original to be shockingly humanoid. The conservators also finally determined whether they removed this overpainting and discovered the original to be shockingly humanoid. The conservators also finally determined whether Van der Weyken had simply returned the missing discovered more palatable version. Shockingly, whether Van der Weyken had simply returned the missing panel from 1934. He hadn't. It was confirmed to be a copy, meaning the original is still missing. Blue. A Ghent stockbroker, while on his deathbed a year after the theft, revealed an unsent ransom note. It rests in a place where neither I nor anybody else can take it away without arousing the attention of the public. A Ghent detective remains assigned to the case, but while there are new tips every year, it has yet to be found. World War II was rife with arts intrigue, and adding fuel to the fire was the most notorious art forger of the 20th century. Check out our video on Han van Meegeren, a conman so talented he might even fool you.
Kyrie Oliver as a guest. The big Papa Bear who's teaching men how to take responsibility, speak in their mind, having a lot of thought-provoking perspectives, and I couldn't have.
For me, I mean, really, my brother and I grew up in a white family. My dad was the only black family member we had, or maybe if we had an aunt or uncle visiting town from my dad's side, but the family I grew up with.
Каждый год одно и то же. Принеси то, подари это, стабильная работа, крутая команда, да? А в итоге работаю с одними оленями. Нет, я так больше не могу. Я устал. Я ухожу в новую профессию. Skillbox, между прочим, новогодняя распродажа. Стану дизайнером или программистом. Новую жизнь начну.
Получите профессию мечты. Новогодний.
Military experts say that in 10 years, the armed forces will be at 30 to 50% robotic. Already in the next decade, missiles will be flying too fast for humans to make important defensive actions on their own. Drones will attack in self-guided swarms, and soldiers will control columns of robots. A lot of this is becoming a reality right now. So see the top 5 most advanced military robots and robotic systems of the present and future Like it, subscribe to the channel, and let's go! Coming in at 5th place, China's Jari USV, a 20-ton impact robot vehicle designed for anti-submarine warfare, striking ground targets and engaging air targets. Tests of the robots began last year. It is 15 meters long and has a displacement of 20 tons. The Jari USV is capable of speeds of up to 42 knots and has a cruising range of 1,000 kilometers. The Jari USV is equipped with an electro-optical sensor on top of the superstructure, phased smart antenna, and sonar. Depending on the combat mission, the boat can be armed with an 8-cell vertical launcher, torpedo launcher, missile launcher on top. The Jari USV is capable of speeds of up to 42 knots and has a cruising range of 1,000 kilometers. The Jari USV is equipped with an electro-optical sensor on top of the superstructure, phased smart antenna, and sonar. Depending on the combat mission, the boat can be armed with an 8-cell vertical launcher, torpedo launcher, missile launcher, and a remotely controlled combat module with a 30mm automatic gun. The robot can operate in fully autonomous mode or be controlled remotely from the command ship. Here in 4th place is Ghost Robotics' K9 dog robot. The US Army began introducing robots. Ghost Robotics Vision 60, nicknamed K9, is already patrolling military bases in Florida to enhance security and surveillance. The 325th Security Forces Squadron is in charge of base security, and they said that the robots are weatherproof, 4-legged, unmanned patrol drones with two-way communications and high-tech sensors that cost about $100,000. By February of 2021, 4 robo-dogs will be deployed around the base perimeter, where they can either move autonomously or be controlled by an operator through a virtual reality headset. The robots are designed for stability on any terrain and have reduced mechanical complexity, reducing costs but increasing reliability and maneuverability. Operating time on one charge is 7 hours, and although the robot dogs don't bite, a safety mechanism will be triggered if you try to damage them, and that mechanism is not yet known as they have not disclosed it. The K9s will be an extra set of eyes and ears when processing large amounts of data and strategic points throughout the Air Force Base. Number 3. An entire family of armed robot tanks is also planned to be adopted by the US Army. The project is called Mission Enabler, Technologies Demonstrator, and provides for the creation of combat robots in 3 classes at once, in light, medium, and heavy. They're capable of shooting, interfering with enemy communications, putting smoke screens in front of soldiers moving forward, and performing other dangerous combat tasks. The smallest vehicle, the Robotic Combat Vehicle Light, or RCVL, will be a wheeled vehicle weighing less than 10 tons and armed with light but powerful weapons such as the Javelin anti-tank missile launcher. The RCV Medium, with nearly the same dimensions, will be twice as heavy to accommodate heavier weapons, armor, and tracked gear. The robot will be equipped with a medium cannon, probably the 30 to 40 millimeter range, or several anti-tank guided missiles. And last in this group is the Robotic Combat Vehicle Heavy, weighing up to 30 tons and will be the main battle tank without a crew. It will be armed with large caliber direct fire guns capable of destroying tanks such as the Chinese Type 99 and the Russian T-14 Armata. For now, the robots will be controlled remotely by an operator without the use of radar to reduce the machine's visibility. But in the future, control will be transferred to artificial intelligence, and work in this direction is actively being carried out by the US today. Here in 2nd place, robot tanks are acting on the principle of the Wolfpack with German company Rheinmetall, which released an animation the other day demonstrating how they operate. The swarm of robotic tanks moves and identifies targets using artificial intelligence, while the decision to fire is made by an operator. The Rheinmetall swarm consists of a squad of armed reconnaissance vehicles and a camera system with a remote-controlled machine gun, which are inserted to the combat area by helicopter. The robots can also carry multiple launchers to launch exploding kamikaze drones. To back up the animation, Rheinmetall unveiled a new reconnaissance combat module for its Mission Master robot platform. The module's payload is mounted on a 3.5 meter long extendable mast with tilt mechanism that allows the vehicle to use the system on the move or from flaps. The stuffing consists of 2 digital radars, a 360-degree camera, a laser rangefinder, a designator, and a Field Ranger light combat system. The Mission Master weighs 1,100 kilograms including its batteries and carries up to 600 kilograms of payload. The platform is an amphibious vehicle capable of swimming at 5 kilometers per hour. The robot can operate for 8 hours or travel for 140 to 160 kilometers at 20 kilometers per hour with fully charged batteries. However, in recent operational tests, the vehicle lasted more than 24 hours without recharging because most of the time the power consumption rarely reaches peak levels. Friends, while we're here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really motivates us to make even more interesting releases. And here we are in first place with the Tempest Future Fighter. The Tempest Future Fighter is a next-generation air combat system that should be ready by 2035. It's being developed by the UK Ministry of Defence in conjunction with a host of technology companies and institutes. The 6th-generation fighter will incorporate several new technologies, including invisibility, direct energy weapons, and hypersonic weapons. Tempest, with elements of artificial intelligence, will be able to fly autonomously and use drone swarm technology to control them. Another tech being developed in Tempest is the ability to interact on the battlefield, exchanging sensor data and messages to coordinate an attack or defend with other robots. Tempest will have an adaptive cycle engine and a virtual cockpit displayed on the pilot-operator headset. A generator has also been developed for the aircraft, providing unprecedented levels of electricity. A key feature of the drone will be the radar technology with data processing capacity equivalent to downloading 9 hours of HD video per second or all the internet traffic of a major city. Today, the military is deciding whether the weapons of the future the radar technology with data processing capacity equivalent to downloading 9 hours of HD video per second or all the internet traffic of a major city. Today, the military is deciding whether the weapons of the future should attack independently or whether the control should still belong to humans. For the military, this is not a question of ethics, but speed of response and thus survival in future wars. Who do you think should be left with the decision to destroy targets? Let us know down in the comments. Subscribe to the Pro Robots channel and be notified of any new releases.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, and I'm here today to give you some tips on teaching piano lessons. First, let me give you a little bit of background about myself. I started taking piano lessons when I was 10 years old, but it wasn't until I was about 14 that I really fell in love with it. I went on to get my Bachelor of Science degree in music education with piano proficiency from Pensacola Christian College, and I've been teaching ever since. Usually I have anywhere from 30 to 40 students, and I just love every one of them. I've been teaching for about 12 years now, sometimes in a school, sometimes in a piano store, and sometimes just at home here in my own little studio. I wanted to do these videos because so many people ask me, how can I teach my own kid at home without having to send them away to piano lessons? I'm not really trained as a piano teacher, so what do I do? And the first question they always ask is, what books should I buy? So this video, I'm just going to talk about the books that I use with my students. I've used a lot of different books, I've looked at a lot of different books over the years, and these are the ones that I've found to be the best. The ones that students respond to, and the ones that are easiest for me to teach. These are books that are organized well, they have plenty of great material for the kids, and they make my job a lot easier. For beginners, I always assign the Alfred Premier Piano Course Lesson Book 1A. Now, this is not to be confused with the Alfred Basic. The Alfred Basic basically stinks. It's just really old-fashioned. It goes way too quickly through a lot of the concept. But the Alfred Premier addresses a lot of the problems that the Alfred Basic had. It has a lot of new material that's more modern. And this comes with lesson book, performance book, and theory book. Those are the three that I always assign. Lesson book is usually an easier song that introduces a concept, and then the performance book takes that same concept but puts it in a slightly more complex setting in the song. And then of course the theory is absolutely essential to get the kid to sort of spit back out that new concept that you just taught them. Did they really understand it? Well, if they can write it down, then you know they probably understood. The Alfred Premier books also come with an at-home book. Now this is basically just an assignment book with little places to put in their assignment for each week. And then at the back, there's a little storybook that tells a story of little kids going to their piano lesson every day. So usually I don't assign this one. I actually have a different assignment book that I like for my students to use. If you wanted to get this one, that's fine. You know, if you wanted to use it, great, but it's not really necessary. The other great thing about the Alfred Premier is that each level comes with its own flashcards. So you can whip out these flashcards and immediately you can see if the child has understood and remembered all of the new information that they're telling you. I use flashcards all the time. Every lesson, we whip out those flashcards, and it's a great way for the kids to feel sort of confident in their knowledge, because they're like, wow, I went through those flashcards really quick. I definitely know my stuff. The Alfred Premier can
хотите, чтобы ваш ребенок обучился программированию, 3D-моделированию и схемотехнике, не
я
выходя
денег
из
хочу.
дома? Если нет, то
У меня нет ребенка. Собаку только мопса завел. Ну и тоже, конечно, так и скажешь, что я себе не думаю. Он это смешной чувак. Денег. Понимаешь, деньги в форме дохода я имею в виду. Я не знаю, что вы там думаете. Но те деньги, которые не доход, а которые вот просто вот деньги. Ну сколько тебе их хватит? Ты как бы считаешь, что не деньги. Деньги это доход, да. Как бы, ну понимаю, там не себе. Нет, ну это деньги, но это вот как бы раз, ну, я понимаю, да. Один раз ты вдохнул воздух, все, больше нету. Все, это как бы, ну, вдохнул, ладно, что будешь, как бы, да. Сразу красный бегать, как я понял, да. Воздух это когда дышать можно, понимаешь, вот тебя, да. Ну и чё? В смысле, что дальше-то? Как это так? Не понимать, что это говорит. Кстати, так интересно дело, как объемно, да? Еще соцсети с бритом такие, как сайт получается. Не, просто так, что-то я уже видел эту заставку, ладно. Какая фишка стала? Что это такое? Что такое вообще? Что за... Что за... Так. Ладно, чтобы внимание привлечь просто. Так что, да. Точно. Это не спецом так. Чтобы... ну понятно. Никто даже не... Да нет, нет, нет. А что там одна что ли? Это все одна что ли тюбиха? Что-то не похоже на звук? Разное. А это что, специально? Дешевка. А в принципе кто туда смотрит? Скажи, одна не такая нахера, вроде разнообразие. Нормально. Уже нормально, что такое?